listen, hey, I did see you guys moving. Hey, you guys look pretty damn slow coming from the locker room. I will say that. I got a lot of shit to do tonight. I got third down to do. I got some. I mean, we need to make this thing go a little bit.
Clarence.
Clarence Hill, deal as Cowboys. Is Todd coming in?
Yeah.
Here you come. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, come on.
Come on. Todd's
Oh,
late.
I thought it was Roger Staubach again. I'm a little disappointed it was just you, Todd.
Can't be on time, be early.
You're good.
Does anything change toward your approach for the final two games following yesterday's game?
No. You know, I talked to the guys today. Right now our focus is on playing the Commanders and get a chance to do it on a short week, which is something that we're pretty good at because we've done it quite a bit with our Thursday games. But no, at the end of the day, man, we're playing to win, and you know that's just at the end of the day, that's not just my philosophy. You know, that's what these guys want to do. Like they want to play. If you listen to our guys, they want to play. They want to play well. They love one another. They care about one another. Clarence, I think that's for me that's really cool.
You moved Eberflus from the field to the box. How do you think the defense played? How did that work for you guys? Clearly, you didn't get to the quarterback. You blitzed more than you have most of the season, and you still did not get a quarterback who did sack more than anybody on the ground.
Yeah, I think operationally it was good. I thought, the operation of it was good. We certainly didn't play well enough really in any of the three phases to get the win. The pressure on the quarterback, I mean, it seems like we talk about this every week, and it's so important, like you have to be able to get the pressure on the quarterback. And I think when you look at it, there's a lot of factors. I thought we won some one-on-ones and he got out. Herbert's an athletic guy, and he's big and he's long, and we lost some rush lane discipline. We blitzed some more. They picked it up. But it's certainly not to the level that we want or expect. And that's one of the reasons why when you look at where we are with creating turnovers, it starts with that. We have to hit the quarterback to make him make errant throws or to get strip sacks. And so, we all have to own that. I start with that as the head coach, and I know Flus and White Cotton feel the same way, that we have to be better.
You got the personnel to get it done, or is it a scheme thing?
No, we have the personnel to get it done, and we have the scheme. We just haven't done it. And, again, that starts with us as coaches.
Brian Schottenheimer with ESPN, back on whether guys play the last two games. How much do you weigh the downside of playing the guys, and if something were to happen like you've seen with Mahomes and stuff like that the last
Yeah, again, I mean, because you guys keep asking me about it, I think about it more than I probably want to. I'd be lying about that. But, again, at the end of the day, we're in year one. And, we've done some things that we're proud of this year. There's been, certainly not the success in the win-loss column. That's very evident. We're disappointed about that. But again, I'm fueled by the fact that we get to play an NFC East opponent this week and then next week, and we want to win and to sustain some success, and we have a chance to potentially go 5-1 in the division. This is the NFC East, and so that's something that motivates us. And again, at the end of the day, when you look at this season, there's going to be good things, there's going to be bad things, but we're playing to win. And our players are all about that. That's what the culture we're trying to build.
Second half, the last 2 weeks, you've not scored a touchdown. There's a lot of talk about the defense, but how much does that kind of bother you and hit it home for you?
Yeah, no. I mean, I was very disappointed with, the way, we played in the second half yesterday, and I just felt like, we had a good drive, and the 4th and 1 call, didn't go the way we wanted to, and I've thought that one over and over a lot, and I give them credit. They made a good play, and but you're always critical of yourself, like what if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? But really, the biggest thing that slowed us down, Todd, I think, was untimely penalties on third down. This game got away from us, guys, with time of possession. I told the guys that this morning. I said, we didn't play this game on our terms. They possessed the ball for 35 minutes, and it's been 33-something. And why? Well, we didn't convert third downs, and we couldn't get them off the field on 3rd and 4th down. And this team, when you do that, the way that they can run the ball and the explosive plays that they made, it's not a good recipe.
So with that being said, do you look at the end of the half where how the game had started and they've had these long drives and shoot up the clock to steal a possession there at the end of the half? Would you have called a timeout?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, there's a little gamesmanship, Todd, where you get down there where you kind of make them make a decision. But once the ball gets to a certain area of the field, then you do burn the timeouts. I feel very comfortable with that. I think I was very pleased with how we started the game. I mean, they deferred to us. We took the opening drive, went right down the field, scored a touchdown, and we kind of kept answering back and forth. And then, the second half, we faltered on offense, and ultimately that caught us.
John Michelle with The Athletic. What happened with Quinnen Williams' neck with that getting added to the injury report on Saturday?
Yeah, he got through the protocol, and then on Friday, like you do, you're going to go out there and move around and hit some things, and his neck got sore, and so it happens. And at the end of the day, it was close, and with the short week coming, it just made more sense to not play him.
After the game yesterday, Jade Evian Clowney had a pretty interesting quote talking about what motivates him to keep playing. Obviously, through these last 2 games, Dak has done the same. I was wondering if you ever have some of those veteran-type guys talk in front of the team, or do you leave that kind of stuff up to them to do individually?
No. I mean, I think they do a lot of that in the locker room. I mean, that's very distracting. I mean, can you ask the question? No, I'm just kidding. I heard the question. You're good. No, again, you know me. I'm big on player leadership. When I talked to the guys the other day about, after walkthrough, I said, hey, there's a chance we come to meetings tonight that we'll have been eliminated from the postseason. After I mentioned that, I had Dak kind of call him up, and he talked about that. But, look, the best locker rooms are player-led, man, and we've got some great leaders and great stories, and I'm aware of some of the things that our guys have said. And like I said, that's where I point to the fact that these guys want to play. This is a game that's given them so much, and this is a game that, they love playing this game. We all know this roster will not look the same. This team won't look the same next year. That's life in the National Football League. So, we've got 2 more opportunities, and I'm excited to actually run around, hopefully a little bit tomorrow, and get ready to go.
What did you think of Tyler Smith yesterday?
I thought he's an amazing player. To do what we did against that group, obviously you guys were, talking about the last couple of weeks. We haven't been protecting Dak very well, and again against a really, really good front. I thought we played really well across the board and kept Dak really clean. And Tyler's just an amazing player.
Nick Harris, 4-star Telegram. Ryan Flournoy was talking earlier about how you guys avoided major injury with his knee. Just kind of talk about the range of emotions over the last 24 hours with.
Yeah, really worried about it. It was one of those deals where, they took him in, they evaluated him, they just kind of really weren't sure. And he's had the knee, I believe, I'm pretty sure. He's had that knee repaired before. But, we were actually in game plan meetings this morning when I got a call from Jim because he knew I wanted to know. And he gave us the great news about Flo. And so I did what most people that care do. I picked up the phone and we called Flo and told him I loved him and how excited I was. And a bunch of the guys in the room started going crazy and pounding the table. But let's talk about this for a second, the development of that young man. I mean, he had a touchdown yesterday. He gets another one called back. That's an incredible catch, probably maybe one of the best catches I've seen in a while. And just the way he's playing and the confidence he's playing with, he deserves all the great things that are coming his way. And I think he's just getting started.
With Tyler Smith at left tackle, are these next 3 games experimental in any way of potentially going into the offseason with that as an option moving forward?
Yeah, again, I mean, you watch Sis play and you see how these guys function, and we know he can play out there. We're not surprised. I'm not surprised. But, again, at the end of the day, we made the move because we thought it gave us the best chance to win these next 3 games. And, it's going to be, like I said, for the next, 2 games now. And we'll evaluate everything, no different than scheme and all that stuff. We'll evaluate everything once the season's over.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. Javonte, 9 carries yesterday. Did he re-aggravate something with the shoulder that was bugging him last week?
No, he got banged on the check down. Dak threw him a little check down. He kind of got banged on it, but nothing with that. I just think, again, at the end of the day, you have the ball for 25 minutes. I ran the ball in the first play of the second half, and we lost 3 yards, and I think I got away from it, started pitching it around a little bit too much, but it was more the time of possession than anything. I mean, it's hard to get anything going with 25 minutes time of possession.
And then with some of the other guys, DeMarvion in the protocol, is that something you're expecting will probably?
Yeah, it's a tough week, short week. It's a tough week, so I think we're holding our breath if we think he'll be able to play, but we'll see. But it's tough with a short week.
And then just Thursday games overall, with this being your fourth one this year, you played plenty Thursday games before in your career, but from your chair now as a head coach, how have you seen the operation in terms of getting ready for this many in their first year as a head coach?
Well, I mean, the fact that we're the first team to ever play 4, I think, is unique. Certainly, it's never happened before, so that's interesting. The first one doesn't really count. I mean, it's the first game of the year. It doesn't really count, but the other ones do. You play Philly, and then you have a normal 7-day routine. And I do think, doing it every year, we know how to process it. We know the right way to game plan and kind of how to do that. We know how to practice and to be smart with their bodies. I mean, these guys are not ready to run. I mean, they're hurting right now. I mean, I watched the film 3 or 4 times, and again, we played physical yesterday. We did. We didn't play great in a lot of areas, but we did play physical, and so our guys are sore and they're banged up, and we'll get them back. But I think it's pretty cool to play in front of the world, I guess, with Netflix on Christmas Day, and we've got a lot to celebrate, and I know I'm a very blessed man.
Dave
Lockmer, 105.3, The Fan, Cowboys Radio. To your point of untimely third down penalties or whatnot, you had the ball up there at 49, kind of middle of the fourth quarter, you're down 10. If that were an incomplete pass, and I don't know if you even got that far in the progression of the thought process, it would have been about a 67-yarder for Aubrey. Cut it to a 1-possession game. Was that going through your mind? Then obviously
Yeah, I don't remember the exact situation, babe, but if you're telling me I have a chance with 10 minutes to go for him to kick a 67-yard field goal, yeah, I'd probably take a flyer on it, depending on what the D&D was. If it was 4th and 5 or less, 4 or less, I probably would go for it. But if it was 4th and long like that, or long in that mid-range, I'd have a decision to make.
Yeah, obviously the penalty put you to third.
Yeah, and again, it was a couple at a false start, and BB kind of goes to pull one, C flinched on one, and just things untimely. And that's what I mentioned last night, talking to you guys, and I'll say it again, like, it's real. The complimentary aspect of what we did, you get stopped on 4th and 1, get ready to go, hopefully tie it up, right? And then they go down and get a field goal, and then you come down, same thing, we're in 3rd down. I thought, they did a good job of forcing some 3rd downs in long because we did it. They didn't force it, we did it. So those are things that you can't do.
Joe.
Joe, Dallas Morning News. I know Tyler Smith moved to left tackle. Tyler Guyton, though, he's been out a month. Was that injury maybe originally or worse than originally anticipated?
These injuries, the ankles are weird, Joe. I mean, they just, it's different. You're not talking about a 180-pound, receiver. You're talking about a, 300-plus man that's used to moving backwards, and not going forwards. They're all different. So, no, I don't think so. But I do think that, that certainly played into the fact of us making this decision. It seems like, more than likely he's going to miss this game and possibly next week. We'll see.
And then Matty Flu's a big reason moving up to the booth was for his adjustment purposes. How did you see him adjust this past game?
Yeah, I think we fired more blitzes. We weren't getting home. And so I do think that we brought more blitzes. Unfortunately, those didn't really get home either. And again, it's so funny because when you talk about affecting the quarterback, you talk about hitting the quarterback, sacking the quarterback. Man, I wish it was just about defensive linemen. It's not. It's about coverage. And it seems like when we had pass rush, they were getting open and beating man to man. And then when we had them covered, we weren't getting home, or we were around him and he escapes out for a 38-yard run or whatever he did. And that's what this game's become. Athletic QBs that can move around, and he certainly hurt us some yesterday with his legs.
Have you ever seen this many guys get poked in the eye?
I was just the quarterback, but I would have definitely had a shield on if I was playing in the trenches because, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and fortunately they're all okay. But I probably wouldn't have mine tinted like some of these guys do. But I definitely wear a visor shield.
Scott Erickson with the AP. On the question of playing or not, I just wanted to ask specifically about Dak. He's had a great year, 15 games, close to a full season. Is there any part of you that says he's had a good year, shut it down, keep him healthy or not?
Yeah, again, that's definitely an option, but we want to finish strong. We want to build on the momentum. Dak's playing great. you saw what we decided to do yesterday when the game got out of hand. You know, we're not going to be cavalier with this thing. We play a physical game. Everybody understands that, you know. But, you know, these guys, when they go out, they don't think that way. They play. I mean, that's what they've been taught to do since they were 5 years old. You just go and you play. And, again, I'm not asking their opinion. You know, we're playing to win. But I guarantee you if I took a poll of guys in that locker room that wanted to play, every hand would shoot up for all the reasons that I've said. They love one another. They know we're building something special here. And quite honestly, we'd love to not have a losing record and to potentially go 5-1 in the division.
And on Quinnen, it sounds to me from what you said earlier that he's trending to play, but it's kind of a similar question with him with the neck, and maybe you're not really sure. 2 games left, but you're comfortable with him getting out there.
Yeah, if he feels healthy to go, yeah, absolutely. We certainly want him to play, and he's an impact player, and you know, you feel the effects of not having a guy like that, you know, and you know, there's only so many in this league of guys like that that can take over a game at that position.
Ed Werder, WFAA. You guys have been a top 5 scoring offense all year long. In this 3-game losing streak, you're like 4 for 11 touchdowns in the red zone. Other than the penalty on CD and the penalty on Tyler, is there any commonality to whatever issues you're having down there?
No, Ed. I mean, I wish it was, because then I could solve it a lot easier. Not really. Again, the big thing I would say about the red zone is you need to get into, when you have third downs, you need to get into third down and really 4 or less. You know, when you get into third and longs, like you were talking about, it's hard because I know yesterday they were trying to play really, really soft and make us check the ball down underneath and rally and tackle. But it's a lot of different things, and it's just ultimately we have to execute better. I have to call better plays, and we have to execute better. And one of the reasons why we're one of those highest scoring teams in the league is we've been good down there for most of the year. And, you know, I hope and believe that that'll be the case in these last 2 games.
Garrett Puddell, CBS Sports. Hey, Brian, after watching the film, what did you see of Trayvon Diggs in his first game back in a few weeks?
Yeah, I thought it was great for him to fly around. And, again, I think, you know, I talked a little bit about the joy and how much fun he had, and I saw him throw his body around there on some tackles. He wasn't perfect. None of us were perfect, but I thought it was a good first step. And, you know, I know that, you know, as a whole, you know, we just gave up too many explosives, and that's on the entire team. And but I thought it looked like he was having a good time.
What's it like game planning this week for Washington when there's a chance, you know, maybe their 3rd-string quarterback, maybe it's Josh Johnson coming out there for them?
Yeah, well, they'll put the ball down, and he's still going to have Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, and this young runner is very impressive. So, you know, short weeks, Garrett, usually you do what you do. You know, that's what we're going to do. That's what they're going to do, because you can't, you know, make up too much. I mean, again, we'll probably get, I'll tell you exactly, we'll get 6 full-speed reps all week, and then you're teeing up to go play the game. So this is one of those games where it comes down to really not fooling anybody scheme-wise. It's really, truly about execution, and that's where we have to, you know, take a big step, you know, to be able to go out there and play well.
Blake Elliott, 105 through the fan. Brian, now that you're mathematically eliminated, what do you want to see as a first-year head coach kind of in the mentality of your players, not just in the game, but in practice, in the locker room, in the weight room, and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's all about the culture, that it's all about winning. You know, and it can be crazy to say that, you know, I get it. You know, we've lost 3 games in a row. We've got 2 more opportunities left. I want to keep seeing these guys play with the physicality that they played with yesterday, and the passion and the love for one another. I think that's important. But at the end of the day, you know, we got to find ways to win games. And like I said earlier to Todd's question, you know, we're building something here, and I think it's going to be really special. And we're a long ways away, but I do think that these next 2 games can help build a lot of momentum for the future.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. Brian, one last question about the domino effect of a short work week. How does that affect the ramp up for Maffa and Josh Butler?
Yeah, again, it's one of the problems because you really don't run around much. They'll get, like Phil, for example, will probably get quite a bit on the 6 plays we get full speed of scout team, but it's hard. And we kind of knew that's why we made sure we started it last week. And but it does make it more difficult.
But is there still a chance?
Yeah, there's a chance. Yeah, there's always a chance, but it does make it harder because you know, you don't see them really do anything that makes them earn the spot to come up and play.
Clarence. Kellen Murray, you traded for him, former first-round pick. Why things haven't worked out with him at linebacker?
Well, again, I mean, I think that's a broad statement. I think you talk about a guy that came here to play will linebacker, and then he gets moved to Mike linebacker, and he's been a will his whole life, and he practiced at will basically all training camp, all spring. We cross-trained him some, but certainly not enough when you look back on it. I think at the end of the day, I love his play style. I love the physicality that he plays. The big thing on K9 from the beginning was getting him more comfortable with his eyes, and he takes a lot of stuff out there in social media and things like that. But I'd put this guy's play style and how hard he plays against anybody. And again, I would never ever point the finger at any one person. At the end of the day, this team and our record starts with me, and I own that. But I love the way K9 plays the game. Does he play perfect? Nope. But I haven't called a perfect game yet in my career. I'm trying. Hopefully it's Thursday.
How do you balance having a 4,000-yard passer, 2 1,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rusher, and basically out of the playoffs 3 games to go this season? I mean, how do you?
Well, you just say as a football team you didn't win enough games. And, the consistency that we talked about, early in the season, it just the humility of this game is just crazy, right? Like, we win 3 games, and then now we've lost 3 games. And I talked to the guys today about it. I said, look, if we're about our identity, trust, work ethic, passion, humility, connection, all that stuff, it's easy to do that, when you're winning. And you win 3 games in a row, and everybody's writing about how great we are and all that stuff. But my challenge to them is, can we do it when we've lost 3 games in a row, when we've still got 2 games to play? I know the answer to the question. I know how those guys are going to respond. But I do think that that's part of the evaluation that will go on as well as we play these last 2 games. Everything's getting evaluated,
Speaking of that, you want to build momentum the last 2 games, but you had won 3 games, you got yourself back in the playoff race based on culture, and then you lose 3 straight. What does that say about the culture there?
Yeah. Well, it says we're not playing good enough football, and saying I'm not coaching good enough football. I don't think it's got anything to do with the culture. The fact these guys are still playing hard, the fact that these guys are still going out there and practicing the way that they are. If you didn't have culture, I'd be more concerned. But the fact that we have such a strong culture is why you've got guys like, Dak and Tyler Smith and, JD, talking the way hey, I'm going out there for my brothers, and it's because this game's given me so much. And that tells you we've built this locker room the right way. We've built this locker room to sustain. And we just got to get some things fixed.
Coach, Fred Davis, 105 through the Fan, kind of piggybacking off what Clarence said, talking yesterday to players in the locker room, I'd asked, hey, what happened in these last 6 games? 3 games, yep. Raiders, Philly, Chiefs, looked like world beaters. Obviously, we know what happened the last 3 games. He said maybe some complacency set in and guys weren't attacking things the same way they had those previous 3 games. Do you believe that, or do you buy that, and how do you fix that?
Well, I think each individual can only answer that question. I never got that sense, with the way we practiced. Was there sloppiness at times with things? Absolutely. When we won 3 games, I literally said to the players, don't believe the bullshit that's out there about how good we are. The minute you start reading literally my phone blows up. People send me shit all the time about, hey, you're such a great coach. I'm like, yep, not reading that. And I'm not going to read what they're saying about me now either. So, pretty good logic, right? But no, I didn't say that. Again, I didn't see that. I felt like these guys have practiced well. At the end of the day, we haven't performed well enough, and that's what we're trying to figure out over these next 2 games.
Nick? Real quick, do these guys know anything about the Schottenheimer polka? And is it something we might break out over the last 2 weeks?
I know the Schottenheimer polka. These guys don't. Clarence definitely doesn't know it, but it's been a while. It was a song that they wrote about my dad and the Chiefs when they were in the playoff runs in one of the years. I can't remember, but it's kind of catchy. Check it out on probably iTunes, yeah.
Nick.
What facilitated the move from Murray from Will to Mike?
Well, it started with when we moved, when Jack got hurt, and then Demo was coming back.
And you guys, I know it's a big deal to play on Christmas. from a sacrificing standpoint, though, you guys are already playing on Thanksgiving every year. From a family perspective with you and some of the guys that have families at home, how tough is it to play on both holidays?
You make sacrifice for this game. When you love what you do, and which we all do, and I mean, you guys make sacrifices. You guys are jumping on a plane to go up there and cover, or maybe some of you aren't. He's glazing himself. You guys see that? No one else said anything, and this guy totally just glazed himself. I'm just saying, I mean, I wasn't looking for a response. So Todd's going to be there. He's making sacrifices. But, again, you know me and my shopping habits. I still don't have anything for my wife for Christmas, so, or her birthday, quite honestly. So I got a lot to make up for when the season ends. Yeah, it's too expensive.
Babe. Brian, the McConkey touchdown looked like you guys were in cover 2 there. They motioned across. Nobody got a jam on the receivers. Malik kind of jumps the inside. Could you just walk through the coaching points on that play?
Yeah, you know, it was good build by them. When they motion over, it kind of takes the jam off because of the speed that they're developing, so it takes the jam off. And cover 2 obviously has holes in it. You know, they got us on another play down the boundary. And again, Malik had eyes on the inside guy. Really, Trey can kind of keep pedaling. But again, I think, you know, he made a really good throw, and he's that type of passer that if you're not in the right perfect spots and you don't get the reroute and the safeties don't get wide enough, you can be punished on it.
So the coaching point, if it comes up again?
Yeah, same thing. Trey's just got to keep losing depth, and Malik got to try to get wider and trust the guy running down the hole. But, again, I've seen him make that throw quite a bit in his career. You've probably hit a few hole shots in your life. No? Not like that, no. His ball spins a little different, yeah. Yeah, his ball does spin a little bit different.
All righty, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.